What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 18 of Break It Down, your weekly episodic wrestling podcast. We break down everything that goes on in the world of wrestling. And by God, Kyle, we have some breaking news, some huge news to talk about today. We have a bunch of things we're going to talk about. We will jump into all of that. Kyle, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just rip the band-aid off. AJ Lee back in WWE, first time in over 10 years. You thought it was impossible. Not in the year 2025, not in WWE. Nothing is impossible. Hell froze over when CM Punk returned to WWE. And now AJ Lee, his wife, is now back in the fold again after 10 years. She retired 10 years ago. No one thought she would ever come back after years of she'll be back at the Royal Rumble. She'll be here. She'll be there. It never happened. It finally did. She returned to SmackDown, took out Becky Lynch, joining CM Punk in his battle against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, signing also Kyle a multi-year full-time contract. This ain't no one and done thing for AJ Lee. So all that being said, what is your initial reaction? What was your initial reaction to AJ Lee's music? Light It Up hitting. Everyone went fucking nuts on the internet. The reactions were incredible. What are your thoughts on her being back? What do you think they have in store for her now that we know that this is a full-time thing now? And just what are your thoughts on her being back, period, in general?
I think it's fantastic. Obviously, her promo on Monday Night Raw was the sweet spot of all promos because
So
she spoke
great.
directly to me. I
Mhm.
wasn't here 10 years ago. I have
Mhm.
missed some of the AJ Lee wave, and so
Sure.
I've had to go back and educate myself to get kind of caught up to speed. And let me tell you what a match this is. It's spot on what the WWE needed. It's
Yep.
spot on what was needed to get some viewership. And who doesn't love a classic husband and wife versus husband and wife trailer park brawl, man? Like, that's
Yeah.
awesome. We're bringing everyone
Yeah.
out and we're going to
Yeah.
get this thing
They
cracking like a family reunion.
I'm so happy that they're gonna do much more than just this match. This match is years, decades in the making, you can say. I mean, there's so much history that goes into both of these couples. Going into like what you're talking about with her promo on Raw. So she came back on SmackDown, huge pop, took out Becky Lynch, gave her a shiner, gave her a black eye. First night back, already giving out black eyes, and we can say stole her Intercontinental Championship. So she comes out Monday, and honestly, like the promo she gave was so passionate, and you could tell that she was you said she was speaking to you. She was speaking to I felt I got a connection from that as well, because her talking about how she stepped away, she did everything there was to do at the time. And at the time, she was right. There really wasn't much for women's wrestlers to accomplish in WWE, but she did everything there was to do. She stepped away, took care of herself, brought up mental health and therapy, which I thought was a really nice mention. You don't really hear
Chant
stuff
of the
like
night.
that. Chant of the night therapy.
Therapy.
Someone like
Therapy.
therapy. Everyone at home chant along. Hearing things like that, it's like you don't get that a lot in the world of wrestling. And I feel like that's something that I don't want to say it's taboo, but talks about mental health and therapy and stuff is not something that is, an active conversation. It's not something that a lot of people are open with. So hearing her open up about that and talk, I thought was really a really nice touch. And I think really also just showing us who AJ Lee is, reminding us that she is this fun loving, quirky, awkward geek girl that is just fantastic at wrestling, was way ahead of her time. And now she is back. And I'm thrilled that she is doing this full time because, I mentioned that they're doing more than just this match, which is going to be great. But this is AJ Lee's opportunity to genuinely like be able to be a wrestler and do more than what she was ever capable of doing. She could have a match on Monday Night Raw against someone like Asuka, and that might not seem like a big deal, but there was no one on the levels of someone like Asuka 10 years ago. Like AJ
Right.
Lee actually will be able to have these dream matches or actual wrestling matches. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone from 10 years ago, but the truth is she was way ahead of her time, and I'll love to hear what you have to say. But I'm looking forward to all these dream matches that are coming up. We're
Well,
past this mixed tag team match.
It's interesting because my first thoughts originally go back to a handful of months ago. We heard Paige was returning.
Sure.
There
Yep. She
it was
was
it was
someone that was in the
Paige,
mix.
it was
Mhm.
coming. So I'm wondering if we're bringing AJ Lee in, and then all of a sudden that kind of trickles
Well, we have
more
Nikki Bella
people.
now too. So it started
Right,
with
which
Nikki,
Nikki
now
needs.
AJ.
She needs more time. Like her match with Asuka was a lot better than her match with Becky Lynch,
Yep.
but she needs more time too, which makes me really hope. And obviously, with CM Punk being in the mix, AJ Lee's probably been a little bit more training and a little bit
Sure.
more moving.
Yep.
So I'm really hopeful and hoping that this match comes out and it's a really clean, impactful match, because
Yeah.
that's really what the W this pay-per-view weekend, PLE weekend, whatever you want to call it, the 20th, it really needs to be a clean showing for WWE,
This is an
because
important show.
it's
This
a
is
really
important for them.
important show for them.
Yeah, that's but they've had a lot of different shit going on the last few months. A lot of controversial, headlines they've been making. They've been doing a lot of things, bring some people back that fans have been ecstatic for. But they bring back AJ Lee. You kind of it's quick to forget some things when WWE does things like this, right? I'm very all eyes are gonna be on this match, and I'm very what's the word I'm trying to use? I was gonna say optimistic. I am optimistic that's gonna be a great match, but it is going to be interesting to see how this goes because it is AJ Lee's first match in 10 years. Yes, she probably most likely has been training, ramping that up over the last few months, even. But it'll be a eye opening match and something that we will be able to like. All right, we can take this and see what we can do moving forward with her. So I'm
So
excited for it.
I am too. And some of Becky's best work on the microphone between
Oh,
Friday and Monday.
she the last few weeks she's been killing it between the
Just
CM Punk stuff, AJ Lee stuff. It has been top notch, top notch. Her promo work is incredible. And then she got her belt back on Raw. So I'm assuming at some point we're going to be going into some title for title matches, but I think this is just going to be a straight up match. But all right, sticking with WrestlePalooza, I suppose, because we're already talking about it. We have a WrestlePalooza card update. So, like we mentioned, AJ Lee, CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins is added to the card. Also on the card, we already had Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer that got announced a few weeks ago, a week or two ago. But now we have the Usos versus the Vision, which we will get to in just a few minutes of how we got there. But the Usos reuniting, taking on Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and the other match that has been announced: John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. We all knew this was going to be the headlining match
yeah.
once Brock Lesnar came back, essentially, and they announced this whole event. But how did we get here, Kyle? I'm going to tell you how we got here. Brock Lesnar returned, we can say, on SmackDown the first time since SummerSlam he showed up, took out John Cena and Sami Zayn, who were in the middle of a match. This was John Cena's final SmackDown appearance. Period. He's never not going to be on SmackDown anymore. We're in Chicago. It is the same arena that he debuted in, and it is the same arena that he is having his last SmackDown showing. So very full circle. Very crazy how stuff like that happens. But he's out talking to the crowd. Sami Zayn comes out, the newest US champion, says he wants to start his own US Open Challenge in homage in honor of John Cena. John Cena says, "Go for it, kid." Sami says, "No, you stay here. You're my first opponent." Great match. They went on for like 10, 15 minutes. John Cena did more moves of opponents from the past. He did an edge spear where he looked like he was fucking losing his mind, putting his hand through his short hair and stuff like that, going crazy. Hits it. Crowd's going, "This is awesome." And as soon as that happens, Brock's music hits, takes out Cena, goes to the back, says, "I'll see you at WrestlePalooza, bitch." And here we are. Are you any more hyped up for this match, Kyle? Now that
no,
now,
no.
I don't even have to finish the
And
sentence.
and
Yeah,
here's why. The John Cena Sami Zayn match was a great match. That was
it was
really
such a good
entertaining.
match.
And I
Yeah.
love that Chicago gets a full circle close and not Boston, but we'll get to that. So Sami Zayn pulls back out that first time he came out. John Cena gave
Yep.
him a US championship run. So they're doing all that. You have a great match. Why?
Crowd was literally chanting, "This is awesome,"
Yes,
in
it
the
was a
middle of the
fantastic
chant.
match.
In the
It was
middle of the chant.
it was a clean, really good, um, how do I say it? Like sentimental almost. Like you
Yeah.
felt the nostalgic. And then comes out, gives an F5 to Sami Zayn and then two to John Cena. I just don't. Here's my thing, and it's fine that people are pumped to see Brock Lesnar. It's great.
Mhm.
I love that people are excited for it.
Sure.
I just don't think that this match is it's not giving me the sense of like, oh my god, it's happening.
Right.
Like CM Punk,
I've been
AJ
waiting
Lee,
for
and I'm not
this.
even a
Like,
big
this is
AJ
years
Lee
in the
fan.
making. Right. Mhm.
Yeah, that has me a little bit more like, oh, okay, we got husband and wife versus husband and wife. This is interesting. This Brock Lesnar angle, I'm not interested. I'm
Well,
not as
we
like,
take
oh
a
my
look
god,
at
is everyone else?
let's take a look at John Cena's list of opponents during this retirement tour.
Yep,
Guys like Cody Rhodes, we've wanted. That's some match years in the making. Face of the company versus face of the company. Randy Orton, last time ever. We wanted that. We got it. CM Punk, even our truth. We wanted that at the time. Logan Paul, say what you want about that, but Logan Paul versus John Cena was a match that was on people's radars and was one that has been, talked about for the last few years. Then we get to fucking Cena versus Brock Lesnar. It's like one of these things doesn't belong type of situation. It's this one. No, like, we've said this before. No one was asking for Brock Lesnar to be back. Like, you're excited for Brock being back. You like Brock, sure, but like, don't act like don't act like you want this. Don't act like you want Brock Lesnar to be one of John Cena's final. Like, he has 7 appearances left, 6 appearances left. You're telling me you want to waste 2 of them at least? It's because you have to build up the show on Raw on
right.
the 15th, and then the actual event. So that's 2 right there taken up for Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar ruined a great match between Sami Zayn and John Cena, which I think could have just been like, you could have had that been a clean win for Sami. You want to talk about kicking off a fucking US title run?
Yep.
Because Cena doesn't need to win every match. He doesn't have to. I would have liked it if they did that, and then afterwards Brock Lesnar comes out. And if you want to do that, then sure, it doesn't interrupt the match. But I'm with you. This doesn't get me any more excited. Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch WrestlePalooza. I'm gonna react to it, and I'm gonna cover it. Of course, I am. But like, I don't know. I could give you 25 more people. I could give you 50 more people that I'd
Well,
prefer to have in Brock Lesnar's position
and
than John. And then, yeah,
that's my thing is like there's just better people. There's better
yeah,
athletes.
so
There's
many more
more
options.
shocking and to their point, to their credit, there was the rumor that I read that Rob Van Dam was supposed to be a John Cena uh,
Hmm.
competitor, but he broke both of his heels.
Sure.
And even then, I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, because
'Cause
then
Rob's
it's
not in the
like,
best shape. It's not like he's a Diamond Dallas Page,
no.
like pushed out and now he's
Right.
ripped. And it's like,
There
ooh,
was someone there was someone that said, one of my last tweets, I did a video where it was like, who should John Cena's final opponent be? And a bunch of fans gave their responses. Someone mentioned Chris Jericho. And it's to the same kind of thing with RVD where, yeah, they have history with each other, but that's not like, that doesn't need to happen. That doesn't need to be a part
I'd
of the
rather see
retirement tour.
Jericho than Lesnar.
If we want to do a comparison thing like that, sure. But I'm just saying, like, if someone like Jericho doesn't need to be involved in it. Like, yeah, they have
That's
history,
true.
but he's someone that, like, if you want to throw his name into the hat, sure. But like, that should be one of the last names you pick out, right? That's like someone with Brock Lesnar. That's a break glass in case of emergency. I
Sure.
don't think there was an emergency here. I think WWE had plenty of options.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is hanging around, fucking scratching his ass, looking for something to do, and they're giving us Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, it's probably going to main event the show. I'd imagine, maybe. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think
Maybe
CM Punk. I
like
think
that.
the
I was gonna say if there's another match, it would be that one. But the way that they've been building it up, it just seems like that would be
yeah.
the WWE main event. But we'll talk more about that next week. We have our predictions episode, so we'll go over all that. I'm going to kind of jump. We have our notes here, Kyle. I'm going to kind of
Sure.
jump a little bit because I mentioned his name, so we might as well stay consistent with it.
Sure.
AJ Styles. I was mentioning how he's been scratching his ass looking for something to do. I was actually being somewhat serious with that. So AJ Styles right now is in a weird position where he's like, he keeps losing to Dom. He's not winning the IC title, but he's still in the IC title picture, kind of. He's not really letting up on this. He's going to be at Worlds Collide, which is this Friday. Dom's going to be there, so there's going to be more stuff going on. But AJ had a match against El Grande Americano. Before the match, he cuts a promo talking about basically there are people backstage that don't want him here. There are people backstage that don't want him to win. He mentioned Gallows and Anderson, how they're not in the company anymore. Michin is on SmackDown, which she was a part of the club, easy to forget. But he doesn't have anyone. AJ Styles says no one, all his friends are gone, and he's kind of like seems like he's shooting from the hip, but at the same time, like WWE's airing it. They posted on their YouTube after. A lot of people on Twitter were saying, "Oh, he's talking now. He's saying all these things, his frustrations." I don't know, but I think it's interesting how he cut that promo very recently after we find out that his WWE contract expires in February 2026. And what I read up on it was before he signed his extension. I don't know if it was earlier this year or last year, but whenever he signed his extension, there were feelers that were sent out of, interest levels for AJ Styles, which I'd imagine are still pretty high. So, Kyle, one, we can talk about the promo, like
Sure.
what you thought about, if you think it was a shoot promo, if you think it was planned, whatever. And two, what you think should be AJ Styles' next move come February? Is he someone you want to see stay in WWE? Do you think it's something that maybe we see him jump to another promotion, or what do you see happening here? What's your prediction right
Man,
now?
it's tough because, on one end you wonder if this is a work that gets us to a retirement tour and maybe he goes back to TNA, goes
Hmm.
back home and kind of really, because I'm going to have to imagine some of those TNA guys are going to be coming over to WWE in the near
Right.
future, the Joe
Hmm.
Hendrys and whatnots.
You'd imagine.
So maybe this is a work to kind of get where I'm leaving WWE, going back home, go to TNA, do kind of a better John Cena retirement run, just because I think.
Can't make it much worse.
But and that's, yeah. So that's where I think that's what I think ultimately could happen. I can't imagine for someone who's in the IC title run, who's where he is in his career, as legendary as he is, for him to kind of go out in like a contract thing because someone's
Sure.
going to be there to pick him back up.
100%.
Um, and I just see him as a loyal guy that's not going to go to AEW,
Mhm.
especially because if he doesn't have a lot of longevity left, why would I go to AEW and not be the same wrestler I was or have that longevity? So I think ultimately we go back to TNA and we have like that nice kind of ride off into the sunset.
So I'm looking at this. Well, one, I think anyone that thinks it was a shoot promo and he was just like going out there saying it, I don't believe any of that. I think this is planned out. I think this is going to go one of two directions, Kyle. One, I think it could go in the direction of we play into this and it turns into we get into a retirement story where it's not like, my contract is up here, I retire, but like AJ Styles has hinted at retirement a few times in the past, and maybe this turns into you know him thinking he's not as good as he once was, he needs to walk away, and it turns into a him finding himself getting back to the top of the mountain, or it kind of like gives us an idea of how much longer he has left and we go for that long, or his contract does expire in February, and as much as I do think AJ Styles is a very loyal wrestler, right? I do think that he is someone that would stay in WWE. I think he's someone that would retire there for sure. But it's not like he's been a WWE lifer in the sense where like it was a little bit more shocking. Like if let me put it this way. If AJ Styles leaves to go to AEW, right? I would be less shocked about that happening than someone like Edge going to AEW, because Edge was a WWE lifer. He was gone for a while because of retirement and stuff. And, WWE didn't bring him back. So Edge decided to move on for that reason. But I think someone like AJ Styles leaving and going to a company like AEW, I'm not saying that people would be like, look at it, be frowned upon by it. I'm not saying like that's how we're perceiving it. But it's not like he's been in other companies. He's been in New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, like we mentioned. So if he did leave to go to AEW, I'd get it. It's not like, it wouldn't be a huge deal. But at the same time, I think people that push for someone like AJ to go to AEW, and maybe, I've fallen into that line. On paper, there's a lot of dream matches that we'd get to see and would be great, right? But let's call a spade a spade. He's 48 years old.
Right.
Okay? Like that's where we need to kind of take a step back here. And like AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers of all time, and he still is phenomenal without a doubt. But he's 48, guys. Okay,
Yeah,
like it's just we have to be realistic about it. I think he'd have great matches in AEW, but I do think that our expectations would be too high for him if he switched over.
I agree.
So I'm all for like if he made the jump when that time comes, I'm all for it. Like I'll be on board with it and I'll, root for these dream matches and hope they turn out great. But at the same time, I can see him just riding off into the sunset in WWE. When he signed in 2016, it seemed like, a lot of guys come to WWE at the latter, the later end of their career. They're gonna get the bag, ride off into the sunset. And he's still doing great work. It's just, you know, he's at the end of his career, unfortunately. So, yeah, something that we can kind of, I'm sure we'll be talking about over the next few months, and will be, a big topic of discussion. And all right, so we segued, jumped to that. Let's go back to Monday Night Raw, Kyle, and this
Let's do it.
closed out the show. This closed out the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people were saying that at the end of Raw. People were saying, no, what? No yeet. No yeet. Because Jey Uso, he took out LA Knight. We're seeing a different side of Jey Uso over the last few weeks. We've been kind of seeing a little bit more of a I don't want to say darker side, but maybe more of a he seems to be, taking control, kind of becoming more of like a leader, a dictator in a way. And what I mean by that is Jimmy Uso is now on Monday Night Raw. Came out, rejoined his brother. I talked about earlier how they're going to be fighting the Vision at WrestlePalooza. That match got announced. The main event of Monday Night Raw, we have LA Knight versus Bronson Reed. Jimmy Uso notices Jey Uso leaving the arena and he says, "Hey, we need to put together a plan. LA Knight versus Bronson Reed tonight." Jey Uso says he doesn't care about the match because that has nothing to do with him. Jimmy says the Vision is our problem. We need to be out there and figure this out. Jey Uso says that LA Knight tried to get him and he will not let that slide. He has to worry about himself and the Usos, and helping Knight won't get them to WrestlePalooza and won't win back his World Heavyweight Championship. Jay is fired up at this point and says that they have to acknowledge us or they will smash all of them. And when he says that they will smash all of them, it's very reminiscent of a certain tribal chief, excuse me. Jimmy tells Jay that he's sounding a lot like Roman, and Jay says that he sounding like himself hasn't been working, and maybe that's just what he has to do. So he left, but then he came back and speared LA Knight after helping out Jimmy. So very interesting direction that we have for Jey Uso now. One of the most popular faces in the company, and now they're kind of I wouldn't call it a heel turn, but
Not yet.
they had him do a heelish move against a also super popular face, and a lot of people in the crowd were very upset when that happened. So, what do you think is next for Jey Uso? Where do you think this is going? Like you mentioned last week of a potential Jay and Jimmy match again. Do you? I will say, Kyle, I didn't think much of it last week when we talked about it. After this week, I kind of can see the vision now. No pun
If you
intended.
read the comments, Dante, half of my takes make sense and the other half don't make any sense at all.
people
This might
people
be
love your
one that
takes.
does.
People love your
This
takes.
might be one. And that's fine. I'm a
Mhm.
hot take machine.
I
Crank
love
it
it.
out. But here's my thing is much like a husband and wife versus a husband and wife,
Yep.
I like real drama.
Mhm.
Real like what
Family
can I find
drama.
at home? Like I have a brother. We don't always see eye to eye. Maybe we'll argue sometimes. Give me some real life drama that I
Mhm.
can relate to. Give me something. Like that's what I want out of my WWE. That's what I loved when I was a kid. Like Stone Cold was yelling at the boss of a company. And while I
Yep.
was young and didn't understand it, you didn't see people speak to power in that way.
Flipping off your bosses, stunning them. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I
Mhm.
wanna see things that is like a real life story that I can pull from. And so if there was something between Jimmy and Jay again that just had something a little bit of a fire, I would be interested in that.
Yep.
Because the bloodline has been running for so long, I would like to see some bumps along the way. I don't think that's happening right away though. I think that would be a
Sure.
slow trickle. Um, but I love what Jay is doing. I would love to see a heel turn out of Jay because I think there's too many faces right now. There's not
Yeah.
enough bad guys, and I think Jay is a bad guy. Everyone still loves the intro. Everyone still loves,
Oh, yeah. People will still be yeeting and
him.
stuff like that. He'll get
So
that. Yeah.
he's not losing the crowd by turning heel. So I think this is a great idea. And especially if he's not getting that belt back anytime soon, let him get on a mic and let him start complaining and going after people because I think we're getting a little bit better on the mic as he has an attitude. So I'd
Sure.
like to
Yeah.
kind of see that
Give
continue.
him an edge. It's
Yes.
funny how we talk about how, all these months of Cody Rhodes being the one to turn heel and talking about how them pulling the trigger on this good guy, but yet he won't lose that spark because people are still going to love heel Cody. And it's like you can turn Cody heel because you still have someone like Jay. Well, maybe you can keep Cody face because you can
Yeah.
turn someone like Jay heel. That's not something we ever really considered because, I mean, he is so uber popular and the kids love him and stuff,
Yeah.
right? But that's where I stand with current wrestling is that's so true. But even if you turn someone like Jay heel, I'm not saying it raises the amount or like even lessens it by much, but like he's still gonna get that audience that loves him and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a different attitude, a different persona, everything. He's still gonna get the yeet chance, he's still gonna get the great entrance. He might even be able to run it back every time that he does. And I also do think that this character change, whether we go full blown heel or just like, Jay standing 10 toes down and being like, no, like I stand on business, like I do my thing. Like if you like it, cool. If not, like this is who I am. I can get behind that because that does wonders for for his career, for his character, and the mic skills and in ring work. Because I think
Right.
that just gives him more material to work with. Do you think this is? You said it's going to take some time. I was in the camp of like, oh, we're gonna get Usos. We're gonna lead up to an Usos tag team match at WrestleMania for the championships. Do you think? What do you think is more likely, that or a one-on-one match at WrestleMania? Because we still have. I mean, I'm not. WrestleMania is still a long ways away, but
Right. Well,
what do you think is
we'll
more
go
of the
through it.
side? Yeah.
I I think there's going to be an Usos tag team reunion, but I really, for some reason, feel that there's going to be Jay's pulling those super kicks out with like no, he's pulling no
Oh,
punches,
yeah.
so
Mm-mm.
everyone's getting a boot
Out
to
of
the face.
nowhere. Hmm.
So I don't know, man. I mean, if Jimmy starts helping LA Knight, and all of a sudden Jay is questioning loyalty, how quick can something change? It can happen just like that. But I think we'll get an Usos tag match. I think we'll get something,
Yeah.
and then there'll be a fallout, some sort of someone didn't tag. There'll be something in that
Sure.
tag fury.
I was
Um,
gonna say at WrestlePalooza, they might plant seeds. They might
yeah,
not do the full thing, but there could be something there, and it would be like the first time they had their match, and this is going to be the biggest thing is if they decide to run this feud back and do one-on-one, everyone's going to call back to their WrestleMania 40 match, which was not great. It wasn't great,
right,
but now the roles will be reversed and they're both 2 years deeper into their characters and being solo guys and developing whatever skills it may be on the mic, in the ring, whatever. And also, since it was so bad, it can't get much worse. So I think both those guys know that if they had a second chance, they would do it right this time. So we'll see what happens. The heel turn was definitely out of nowhere. Was not expecting that at all, and I'm excited to see what they do with his character moving forward because I heel or heelish Jey Uso, especially like you know removing himself from the bloodline and kind of asserting himself as that leader, I think could be really cool. So we'll see where we go from there. And before we jump into AEW, because we're gonna end this episode on some AEW, Kyle, let's talk about something that I immediately texted you about when the news came out for this, and we were both outraged because we were both checking our calendars, making plans, checking some flights, some of us, because We were thinking that maybe, when December comes around, when John Cena's last match, which was supposed to be in Boston, when they announce that, we can get tickets and we can go and we can have a great time. John Cena's last show, John Cena's last match. It's going to be a great time. Saturday Night Main Event. Well, guess what? That got ripped away from us because TKO decided to do a bidding war of who will host John Cena's final match between Washington, D.C. and Boston, Massachusetts, in the nation's capital, came out on top in this one-on-one match. And they will now be hosting Saturday Night Main Event December 13th for John Cena's final match. Boston got relegated to November 10th, Monday Night Raw.
The
They're going to be in,
powerhouse, November 10th.
the day that everyone's been circling on their calendar. Everyone's been fucking marking their calendars for. They're going to be in Springfield, Mass, this upcoming Raw, and then Boston, November 10th. So 2 more Massachusetts appearances. And then they also announced him at Madison Square Garden, Survivor Series, and then the Saturday Night Main Event. So, just real quick, fuck TKO. It's what this came down to is money, and it's just bullshit. It's stupid because, like, in a case like this, yeah, you made more money from Washington D.C. hosting it. Good for you, but like, bro, it's just the thing, the thought of like John Cena, the one request, the one thing this guy wanted was to go out in his hometown, and that's something his dad's been talking about all year since the beginning of the retirement tour. It's going to be in Boston. It's going to be in Boston. John Cena's been talking about it being in Boston. You miss out on a few extra $1,000, whatever it may be. You couldn't just let this one thing slide. You couldn't just give the fans something. You couldn't just give us a memorable going out on your own terms in your hometown. Like, yeah, not a lot of people get to say they retired in their hometown. It doesn't get to happen, but you could have made it happen here, and it would have been a beautiful thing. But now we're going to be in front of the fucking White House, dude, putting on performances for all the politicians and shit like that. Kyle, how mad are you? how
You know,
upset are you?
you said it pretty solid for me. It's tough to look at business and not be surprised when selfishness occurs, but you know, there's just something deep inside of me that says November 10th at the Garden, something gets announced.
You
Something
think so?
way past November 13th. We're
Mm.
talking towards the end of the year. We're talking the holidays. We're talking Santa's coming home with a sack full of goodies. I don't know, man. There's just something deep inside of me that says, and I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to trap into the head of a
Trying to
madman, which
cope.
is Triple H,
Trying
and
to
just
cope,
saying
yeah.
like, well, what if we take them down here and they think they're going to DC, and then all of a sudden, boom, So
Well, it's all part of the story. It's all
right,
scripted at the end of the day, right? There'll be
and
there'll
so
be episode number 3 of what Unreal, whatever scripted, whatever the hell the show is
yeah,
called.
Unreal. Yeah,
Unreal.
I I don't know, man, because if he goes out on a Raw episode in November 10th, I just feel that I just don't feel that does him what the service he has done for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
No,
doesn't
I
feel like
agree.
a reciprocation of love. It feels like, we should be there. And by we, the fans,
Mhm.
everybody,
It should
especially
be
in
me,
Boston.
damn it. It should be me, damn it.
Yeah, I should be there.
I
No, but
should
like
fucking be there.
I don't know. I just feel that it's really selfish, and I hate that it came down to money and a bidding process because it didn't need to do all that.
Doesn't surprise me
So
that they did this
it
at
doesn't
all.
surprise me either,
No,
which
not
is
one bit.
why, and this could be a take that doesn't make sense, but
Add it to the
I think
list.
I
Add
think
it
that
to the
there is
list.
something that gets added and brings it back towards Boston, just because I want to refuse to believe that WWE would do that and leave it up to a bid war and take it
Mhm.
out of the hands of Boston.
I like to be optimistic and thinking like, because I've seen people talk about this and like WWE screwed John Cena for the first half of this tour. Like, just extend it to WrestleMania. Give us a few more months. Like, now we're cooking. You know what I mean? Like, since he
I don't
went
think
back
he
to being
wants
a
it
face,
though.
I don't think he wants it either. And that's why what you're saying is I want to get behind that so bad. but John Cena, from the second that he announced this back at Money in the Bank 2024, when that day comes, that is my last day. I will not wrestle again. I will, like, he has been adamant on this being December 13th. And just, I'd imagine too, just like, if you want to get into the business side of things, I can't imagine they announced December 13th being his last show and then being like, oh, JK, we're going to add one more. I think that would, that would stir up some stuff because false advertising, you're paying an X amount more because it's being advertised as this. At the same time, WWE is the company that said John Cena versus The Rock, first time ever, will never happen again. And guess what? They did it again the year later. They did it twice in a
Right.
lifetime. So they could do that. I just think John Cena's been so adamant on keeping it the way it is that it's going to stay that way. Is it bullshit? It absolutely is. I've also seen people throw out the the conspiracy theory that this whole run right here is Triple H just getting back at John Cena because he's jealous of how John Cena was always the top guy and that fans always love Cena. And this is Triple H's. All right,
I,
we're gonna send you out, but we're gonna do it my way. I don't
I
believe
mean,
it.
how can
I
how
don't
mu-
believe it.
I
But
don't know, man. Like, what does Triple H have to be petty or jealous of anyone else for? You
no,
you got you got the boss's
it's
daughter, you got the
it's
sweet gig.
you already
I mean,
yeah, you already got the job, man. You already
let's go
got
back and like
everything. I
let's
think
pump the brakes for a little bit. I mean, Triple H had a historic career. Like, I don't know what Triple
14-time
H would
world
have to be jealous
champion.
about.
Jealous 'cause he didn't get the 3 extra championships some people may
Ah,
think. I think it's just a way of people of coping, because this retirement run has been disappointing
it has.
up until SummerSlam,
Yep.
genuinely. So it sucks because we're getting closer and closer to that final day, Kyle, and, like, it's like, kinda like it's kicking in now, like, it's settling in that
It's
this is
real.
it, and we're trying to find any reason for him to stay and continue this run, and it I thought of this when I was out on Friday, but I was at a bar in Maine, and had my phone out, I was watching Brock Lesnar and shit like that when he came out, and I said to myself, I'm like, "It's actually crazy how, like, it hit me that this was the last SmackDown and that we really only have an X amount of dates left."
Yep.
Someone like me, when I first started watching wrestling, John Cena was the guy. So, like, the well, we'll get into it more. We'll get sentimental when the time actually comes, but it is
I'm gonna get a
starting to sink in.
violinist to come and while you
Oh,
talk about your
it's
childhood and John
it's gonna
Cena.
be it is gonna be we're gonna have the whole episode in, like, black and white and stuff like that. It's just gonna be a sad, sad episode. We're gonna have rain going the whole time,
Candles, a lot of
candles
candles.
lit. Yeah, it's gonna be we'll get there when we get there. Everyone make sure you get your suits ready for a funeral. But okay. We talked about Cena, Raw, SmackDown. I don't know if you have anything else from WWE in general that you wanted to add, Kyle, but all I have left here is the updated All Out card that we can go over.
Sure, let's do that. Yeah,
We'll jump into that. All right. So last week when we talked about All Out, we really didn't have anything. The only match we had announced was Edge and Christian versus FTR, and
yep,
now there are 6 matches announced. So we have Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World Championship against Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher challenged him for the belt. He took out Hangman and Omega a week ago. So that's kind of, we kind of knew what direction we were going down there. But that match got announced. John Moxley versus Darby Allin in a coffin match. We were talking about it could be Texas Death Match potentially, but we're
I'm
getting
fine with a
coffin
coffin
match.
match.
Coffin match worked 6 feet under. The promo Moxley gave on Dynamite and Collision this past week were fiery, awesome, insane. Hurt Syndicate versus the Gates of Agony, 6-man tag team match. MJF versus Mark Briscoe. I don't know if this match has a stipulation to it actually. It might be a okay. It says to be announced for a stipulation, so I think it will be a stipulation match, but nothing's been announced yet. And then Tony Storm defending her AEW Women's Championship against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Thekla. Fatal 4-way match. She wanted to get crazy. We're gonna get crazy.
I
So
love
Kyle,
that.
now that we have 6 matches here, what's your thoughts on the card now that we have more substance here?
Love Adam Page. Love
Mhm.
Kyle Fletcher.
That's gonna be a great match. Kyle
That's gonna
Fletcher being
be
put in that position is huge.
is huge. I don't know if saying obviously is crazy, but obviously Adam Page wins. I just think
Yeah,
Kyle Fletcher's trajectory would be a vertical one if that happened, and I don't think
absolutely.
that makes sense. Moxley and Darby, um, man, that's one that you're like, oh, because like Darby Allen, I think is going to put his body on the line in a way that we hadn't seen,
Yep.
and at least since he had a fork shoved up his ear. So I think I think Moxley wins because I think Darby Allen just becomes a pincushion and
Okay.
just says like, just feed me, just put me through all the pain.
Sure.
And I just think that that is going to be I think that's the most entertaining match. At least for me, that's the match I want to see the most.
Yeah.
I'll just, yeah, how about this? You want me just to go down?
Go down. Go right
I'll just go
down.
down. Okay. Uh, Edge Christian FTR. I think obviously Edge and Christian have to win
Have to be.
just because, first time tag team, all that stuff. Hurt Syndicate, Gates of Agony.
Yeah. It's a match.
Yeah.
I mean, there's history. There's history there. So you know what I mean? It's
But Hurt Syndicate wins,
yeah,
right?
right. Because they just lost the belt. Hi. Taylor just got home. Everyone say hi,
Hi,
Taylor.
Taylor.
Kyle. No, I'm recording with Kyle right now.
Kyle, thanks for the popcorn.
Do you hear her?
I could kind of hear, but
She said
understand.
thanks for that. She said thanks for the popcorn
Love
Oh.
you.
and love
You're
you.
welcome. Happy birthday. Love you too.
All right. Yeah. Hurt Syndicate, Gates
so
of
Hurt
Agony.
Syndicate,
It's
they
just
have
a
to
matter of they cost Hurt Syndicate the belts, so
Right.
they had to set this match up. Yeah, it's a filler match. They're getting
Yeah.
them on the card.
and now I'm really excited for MJF versus Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, who I'm really starting to kind of just learn about, really kind of over the last handful of months, weeks.
I will so just to interrupt you really quick, I will send you some matches of the
Okay.
Briscoe brothers versus FTR. They're on YouTube, so easily accessible. They
Okay.
have just 3 of the best tag team matches you'll see. One of them is a regular match, best 2 out of 3 falls, and then a dog collar match. You'll learn a lot about Mark Briscoe in those matches.
So
I'll send those over to
my
you later.
here's my my view on Mark Briscoe.
Okay.
Have you ever gone to a really like kind of, I don't want to say shitty dive bar, but like just a dive
I love
bar
'em.
that's so bad that it's great?
Those are my favorite bars to go to,
Okay.
honestly.
Mark
Yeah.
Briscoe is the guy that hangs out at the end of the bar that people aren't going to really talk to because they
Mhm.
know that this guy just got off of a long day at work and they don't want to bother him. And
Yep.
if you bother him, he's going to fucking attack you. That's Mark Briscoe. Mark
Yeah.
Briscoe is just a guy that just has a screw loose, and
Yeah.
you're just poking it,
You're poking it.
waiting for
You're
it to
waiting.
happen. So I'm excited for this match. This might be my number 2 match behind the coffin match. Because I'd
Yeah,
like to see
this has
Mark
been
Briscoe go
this has been a
crazy.
build up.
So I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do because I am an MJF fan.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Mark Briscoe.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because I want to see Mark Briscoe just go unhinged and
Yeah.
just go crazy.
I
And
could
I'd
have
like to see
sworn
what that looks like.
there's no stipulation announced for it. I could have sworn they were talking about like a stretcher match or something like that, but
That'll be interesting.
I don't know where maybe I just heard that somewhere else. Oh no, this is I'm an idiot. He had a stretcher match against Ricochet recently. That's
Gotcha.
why
Okay.
that makes sense. Okay, so no stipulation for it yet. I I don't know if he'll have another stretcher match, but yeah. All right, keep going. My bad.
And then for our fatal 4-way, our women's division,
Yep.
I
Is
wanna
this the
keep
time? Is this it? Is this
I
what
want to
we
keep things timeless.
right? Oh,
I
I
am saying Tony
guess.
Storm.
I guess. Yeah, dude. Here we talked about like who's gonna be the one to do it? Who's gonna be Tony Storm? Like, how are you gonna make the story? How are you gonna build it up? I, in a situation like this, it doesn't make too much sense for her to lose. I think because like they're just putting her up against like Thekla's new. Chris Statlander's a beast. She's been around for a while, and I actually would love to see her get that opportunity. And Jamie Hayter just came back. I think you could have Statlander or Hayter win the match and make it work. But at the same time, it really is like Tony Storm asked for this. And I do think it is too random and too like quick. I don't know if quick is even the word. This is such a weird situation because like I still feel like if they were gonna have her lose the belt, they would have had her lose it to an Athena or a
Athena, right?
Mercedes, and not just a fatal four-way match, right? Like if they have Chris win or Jamie win, that's huge. Jamie Hayter, two-time AEW Women's Champion, Chris Statlander finally getting that big win. I would fuck with that, but at the same time, I'd be like, well, okay, but why didn't they just have her lose earlier? Whatever.
Right.
I think Tony Storm is going to win, but I do think this is the highest chance of her losing in like a recent, like even a higher percentage
Okay.
against like a Mercedes or Athena. Like I think we're more likely to see her lose here than any of those matches. But I will pick Tony Storm as well. And we're just kind of going over this. We'll have official predictions next week when we have all the matches and stuff. But MJF Mark Briscoe, I think that's going to be a match that they've had a feud going for a while, so this will be their blowout match, and I think they'll go all out on a pay per view. There will be blood. If there's a stipulation, they're going to go all out. I don't really have a winner yet. I just want them both to have fun and bleed for the sake of the audience. Hurt Syndicate, Gates of Agony. I'd probably go Hurt Syndicate too because of the bigger name. Edge and Christian, not going to waste my breath on that one. That's easy. Moxley Darby, I I feel you on the Darby being the new pin machine and just like taking pins for everyone because he seems like someone that like doesn't care. Like he just seems like he doesn't
Yeah,
care if
like
he wins or
he wants a good
loses.
show.
He just wants a good show, and as long as it's memorable, that's all he cares about. Um, with that being said, I do think Moxley is going to win this because I do think the Death Riders are kind of going to hit a second gear, and I think they're kind of not hit a reset button, but like they're recruiting people now. Daniel Garcia is kind of being in the mix. Chris Statler just kind of being in the mix. So I would like to see Moxley kind of keep that like power as a leader and kind of setting examples of like I'm the ace of AEW, I'm the best guy, and I keep proving it. So Moxley winning, I think, does make sense and does help him out a lot, believe it or not. Then Adam Page, Kyle Fletcher. I hope Kyle Fletcher puts on a performance of a lifetime because he is spectacular.
Yeah.
Still sickens me that I'm 6 months older than him, but to see a 26-year-old go out there and be able to, have an AEW championship match while also being the TNT champion, that is a massive opportunity. I think that he's ready for it. I think that this is, he's made for situations like this, and it will be a nice preview of what we should be expecting from him the next few years, being in world championship matches, competing, against guys like Adam Page. So that'll be a great match. But we'll have more matches that get announced this week and next week, I'm sure. But that is what we have so far. And we have Dynamite tonight. We have a few matches going on. So we'll have more to talk about next week. But Kyle, out of breath. Do you have anything you want to throw in? Do you have anything AEW, WWE related, All Out, WrestlePalooza, AJ Lee? You gonna get an AJ Lee shirt? What's going on over there?
I don't know. I might get an AJ Lee
It's
shirt.
one of the best designs that they've put
I
out in a
might pick up
while. I will
some new
say.
gear. I will say that. Here's my thought. Here's my final word. Final.
Oh, I might have some breaking news, Kyle.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So
Breaking news is happening on Break It Down.
breaking news right happened. Chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority has announced that WrestleMania is headed to Saudi Arabia in 2027. Is 100% legitimate. A press release we was issued in Arabic that WrestleMania 43 will be held in Saudi Arabia. The press release was taken down shortly after it went out, as it was apparently sent out accidentally before it was scheduled to be issued. However, the story is 100% legitimate, and an announcement is coming very soon, bringing WrestleMania to an international location outside of North America for the first time ever. And PWI Insider is confirming that announcement is expected to be made very soon. I'm assuming assuming they're gonna make
Sooner
it
rather than later
official
now.
sooner rather than later. Now that it's been leaked, so yeah, I mean that's something that's kind of been in the air. We've been theorizing what's gonna happen. But Saudi Arabia, WrestleMania 43, they get fucking Royal Rumble 2026 and WrestleMania 43. Oh,
You-
oh, I guess I won't be going to WrestleMania for the next few years.
On one
Shit.
hand, I'm pumped it's not in fucking Las Vegas.
I guess it's something
On
different,
one
but
hand, I'm
like
like, thank
it's in
God we're
Saudi
getting out of that
Arabia
hellhole.
though. Like is that much better?
Yeah, that's where you trade one for the other.
But what I'm concerned about though is that this is just opening up a can. This is just opening up a can of worms and is opening the door to just WrestleMania is going to turn into they have their set locations. It's going to turn into a Vegas,
But
Saudi
why?
Arabia,
Why?
because
That's not
you know how
that's
I bet you they're
new.
going to get out of their debt from buying WWE from this one WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. They're probably going to get so much money for doing this. I'd imagine the
I
check
mean,
has to be massive.
it has to be. I
It
mean,
has to be
the
because
global
their
community
shows,
that
their
descends
con
upon
it's disgusting. They're
yeah,
what they make like $50 million for each one of their crown jewel shows now. Like that's what their contract with them is. It was like a $500 million, close to $1 billion deal. They were making $50 million for just a show in November for a King of the Ring in May. A
yeah.
WrestleMania 2 nights. No, dude, they're gonna make so much money.
That is crazy. Yeah, I
Especially
don't
think
know.
of not even just the tickets, but the everything that goes with it. They've never
Yeah,
had an event like that out there. The people are gonna be going berserk. They'll probably raise the ticket prices by 1,000% and they'll still sell out.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna be really interested to see what Fanatics Fest looks like. I'm gonna be really
yeah, all
interested
that
in
stuff
what
that goes into it too.
yeah,
All the
because
weekend stuff.
there's laws and things that we don't even think of that like
Mhm.
you can't be going out to a Kill Tony show in Saudi Arabia and staying
Yeah.
out until you know what I mean? Like there's
I
just
wonder if
things
they'll
that
do stuff in like the States as a placement and then like the WrestleMania stuff is in Saudi. I don't
that's
know
a
how that
great
works.
idea, duh.
I don't know. Yeah, but then it's like you have to think about people flying back and forth. Like maybe you have some people stay on location in the US and then
Right.
yeah, you'd have to
Yeah,
figure
I don't
that
know.
out.
That's gonna be a cluster to try to figure out how they're
Woo!
gonna do that, man.
Wow. Wow, they finally did it.
All
They're
right.
finally going to Saudi Arabia. All right, well that's yeah, that's the big announcement to close the
I
episode.
already
You
forgot
were
what my
talking
final
about
word was
something.
gonna say.
I was going to say I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were going to go on a spiel about something, but
Yeah.
that
You
really
know,
threw me off.
I wonder what it will take. Here's my final thought, and I'll leave the pose this as a question, and then I'll let you sign us off.
All right.
What will it take for the WWE to dig deep enough in your pocket that you will say, I've had enough?
You mean like what like think of like a what type of situation would have to
Yeah,
happen
WrestleMania
from
is only in Las Vegas or Saudi Arabia, places
Mhm.
that you know it's going to be out of this world expensive to
Right.
stay, eat, you know,
They're
tickets,
starting to do
venue,
all this
all
like
that.
ESPN stuff, adding all these other service providers and
So,
stuff.
and Fanatics Fest is great. I love that service. I love the walkouts, the superstar entrances,
Mhm.
the superstore. I love all of that. So, I'm not poo pooing Fanatics Fest or
Yeah.
anything.
Mhm.
But how deep does the WWE have to get into your pockets for you to finally say, you know what, maybe those $200 floor seats for AEW ain't too bad?
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know, I'm going to TNA.
Mhm.
What does WWE have to do to care so much about this dollar, moving John Cena's to DC because of money?
Yep.
What is it going to take? What will happen?
That's such a tough it see when things controversial things happen when WWE pulls things off like a Brock Lesnar returning, right? That was probably the biggest one in recent memory. They do these things and it causes rage in the IWC and they're like, why like cancel WWE? Why are you still watching it? Like they bring back people that are in active lawsuits and you're still watching and stuff like blah blah blah, right? I one I've learned to separate. Like I'm watching the television product and stuff like that. Like I'm not going to get into Brock Lesnar or anything like that. But I'm simply watching what's on my television screen and what's going on behind the scenes is going on behind the scenes. I have no control or say, or I don't know what the fuck the little details are and stuff like that. It's hard, even when WWE does questionable things to be like, I'm gonna stop watching this because how I look at it, and I think a lot of people are in the same camp as me or have similar viewpoints of it, is I grew up watching WWE. Yes, there's alternatives. There's AEW, there's TNA, there's New Japan, and I love all of them. I love the alternatives. But at the end of the day, no matter what, WWE is always going to be my comfort. That's going to be my comfort show. That's going to be, I can throw on any match and just have it on in the background. And that's like that. I could have the worst day ever and be so stressed. And I could throw on Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 22, and that de stresses me. So I think it's hard for me to answer or come up with. And I'd love to answer this, and I want to leave this as an open-ended question for people to drop down
Sure.
of what they would have to do, because I think this is something that I genuinely would have to think about, because I think it would be a lot for me to be like, I'm done watching WWE. As crazy as that sounds, because they have done some shitty things and they've made some questionable decisions, it's a lot more complicated for someone that's just grown up on it and has like found a comfort in it. You know what I mean? And some
Yeah,
people might hear me saying that and be like, "Oh, well, they still have this person. You support that." Blah blah. Like, nah, like it's the product, it's the
sure.
WWE television. That's what I care about. That's what I've grown up on, and it's a soft spot. So I have to think about that. But you guys fucking sound off on what would it take for you to stop watching and really like boycott WWE, I guess you can say. But yeah, that's a great question, Kyle. I don't know if you have your own answer for that, but we can save that for
My
a
answer,
talking
well,
point.
my answer is this: when you start to put money before the product and
Mhm.
start to price out your fans,
That's an
that's when it
issue.
gets
It's
concerning.
a fucking issue.
And
Yeah.
like I said before, I'm a Disney guy. I'm a Disney Vacation Club member. I understand companies will price out people they don't want to get
Yep.
a select person.
Mhm.
That's great. I understand business, capitalism, go fight, win, make your money. But we're talking about something that it's a family. WWE wants Disney. They don't have their own hotels. They don't
Yep.
have their own dining services. They
Yep.
don't have their own transportation. Me, the fan, has to provide all of those things.
Right.
I have to
Mhm.
pay for my flight to Las Vegas, find a place to stay, find food at that place. I go to Disney, that's all roughly included in the
Sure.
area. Yes, I pay separately for food. It's not all inclusive before I get in the heckles. So I understand that. But
Yeah.
my view is wrestling, I can go to an AEW show. We went to an AEW show,
Had a great time.
$250, floor seats, mint view, mint
Great
everything.
time. One of the
And
best
we
shows
both
we'd
looked at
ever
each,
been to.
yeah. And both of us said this would have been 10 grand. This would have been like, an exorbitant amount of money to do
100%.
WWE.
Yeah.
And so that is where I start to lose my WWE. I don't want to say fandom because I love the wrestlers. Like you said, I love the show,
Yeah.
the programming. It's great. But when you start to make me feel like my viewership
You're
isn't
just a number.
appreciated,
Yeah.
yeah, and now I'm a
Mhm.
statistic, I don't appreciate it as much. And then I'll just go be a statistic and watch some new wrestling that's got me entertained, hence
And
AEW.
where we've gotten to with becoming statistics is WWE's in a place where they can do what they want and be like, well, we're still gonna get these people to watch it. So if like we lose you, don't worry. We're gonna find that one other person somewhere. So they're not worried about losing out on viewership,
Which
and which to a point short, but like also you're if when you start driving out the hardcore fans, we've talked about this with ticket sales going up. Now it's like with basketball games too. Go to a Celtics game, half the people there are just there to have a night out. They don't care about the team, the sport, whatever. They're not actual fans. You're missing out that energy. What makes the crowd so good are the passionate fans, and you're kicking them out. You're forcing them out essentially. um yeah, and hey, you talked about it, man. The one thing that drives people away is us not feeling important, and they've done a great job at that the last few years, and they keep doing things like that, but then they keep bringing back AJ Lee, and that just ropes us right back in. So you gotta fucking love WWE,
at
man.
first I thought I was out, then
They
they pulled me back in.
right back in. Yeah, we're gonna be right back in. We're gonna be right back here next week, guys, talking about WrestlePalooza and All Out, because they will be going not head to head, but they will be on Sunday, September 20th. A long day of wrestling, but we will be giving our official predictions next week there. And I think we'll be signing off today, episode number 18. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, wherever you may be. We appreciate your support as always. Check out all the other content on this channel. Check out my Patreon. Link to everything will be in the description. Follow Kyle on everything: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know
Not
him.
Jelly Roll.
Not jelly. Oh, did someone comment that and say they thought?
Oh, I
it
thought that was
the,
Jelly Roll in the thumbnail. Oh,
That's fine.
oh,
What kind
eat
of
shit.
what kind of backhanded compliment
Yeah.
was that? Eat shit. No Jelly Roll.
Want me to jump
Kyle
off this
Beatty,
balcony real quick?
The other Beatty, not the other Jelly Roll. Beautiful view, Kyle. I enjoy your time in
Miami, Fontainebleau.
Miami. If you
Thanks for
see
the room.
Kyle in Miami, make sure to say what's up. But we will see you guys next week for our official predictions. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you then. Peace out.